The U.S. is reportedly moving additional assets into the Middle East to protect our troops amid concerns of an imminent Iranian attack on Israel, possibly within days. Iran has publicly threatened to retaliate following Israeli airstrikes in Damascus, Syria, 2 weeks ago. For more on these escalating Middle East tensions, let's welcome Congressman Kevin Kiley from the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, good to see you. It's very strange that Iran would continue to telegraph over the past 2 weeks they've been doing it, that there's going to have a retaliation strike. Do you think it's more bluster than reality, or are we preparing for something really big?
Well, we'll see. I mean, what we do know is that Iran already is attacking Israel on a regular basis. They just do it through their proxies. They massively fund Hezbollah and the Houthis in Yemen, and certainly Hamas. And these groups are all attacking Israel, firing missiles on a daily basis. Of course, Hamas was behind the horror of October 7th. So, you know, that's the way that Iran prefers to do things. They like to fund. They massively fund, by the way, using money they got from the last administration, these proxies that literally surround Israel. So we know that's the way that Iran prefers to operate. We also know that they're very averse to doing anything that threatens the stability of their own regime. So, you know, I think that it's hard to say exactly what might come next year, but any assessment of what will come next should bear those two things in mind, that Israel prefers to act through its proxies and they don't want to threaten the stability of the regime.
Well, plus, Congressman, we just got to say it out loud. I mean, they're getting a good deal from the Biden administration. Under the Trump administration, we had maximum pressure. We had all of these sanctions that were causing them not to have enough money to fund these terrorist organizations. Maybe October 7th wouldn't have happened if they had been as flat broke as they were during the Trump administration. So they don't want to lose that kind of cozy relationship, which they have for some reason. I think it's because the U.S. still wants to have an Iranian nuclear deal that they have with the U.S. right now.
Well, that's absolutely right. And this, of course, goes back to the Obama administration's extremely misguided deal with Iran that resulted in billions of dollars, massive funding. And that money then goes to purchase weapons, to arm Hamas, to arm Hezbollah, to harm the Houthis, to go and attack Israel, our strongest ally in the Middle East. It's one of the most misguided foreign policy decisions that we have seen in the modern history of our country. You know, the Israelis are literally surrounded by Iranian proxies that threaten them every single day.
We're going to be talking with former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker coming up about the FISA dispute that was happening in Congress today, the vote between some members of Congress who thought that there should be a provision to change the surveillance warrant issue that we have. How did you vote on that? Are you in favor of the amendment about the surveillance warrants or against it?
I did vote in favor of that. I think that, and you know, it was a tie vote at the end of the day, so it was extremely close. Democrats voted yes, and Democrats voted no. Republicans voted yes, and Republicans voted no. What I think is very clear is, number one, that the FISA program is extremely important to U.S. national security and to detecting and deterring threats, but that number two, this authority has been massively abused in recent years. So what we've been working on, I'm on the Judiciary Committee all year, is trying to reform FISA in a way that will allow it to continue to serve its vital national security purpose while not threatening the privacy and civil liberties of Americans. And notwithstanding the fact that that particular amendment didn't pass, there are a number of reforms, dozens of reforms in this reauthorization bill that are designed to provide some accountability and protection.
It certainly shouldn't threaten our democracy, as I think a case can be made it did during the Trump administration. Finally, I got to ask you about your state, California. You were a state legislator before you became a U.S. congressman. It's in really bad shape right now. You got a 5.3% unemployment rate. You have a 74 bill. By the way, that's you're leading the nation in unemployment. You have $74 billion deficit right now, and they can't account for $24 billion that they spent on the homeless crisis, which obviously didn't do a lot of good because you still have a homeless crisis. Who's in charge here?
That's a great question. And so we just got this audit out, which, by the way, I had requested over almost 4 years ago when I was in the state legislature. Let's audit all this massive homelessness spending, see what's coming of it. The Newsom administration intervened and killed the audit. So finally it gets approved a few years later, and we just get the report this week that shows, as you say, $24 billion that we've increased homelessness spending. And where has that money gone? What good has it done? Absolutely no good at all. In fact, the problem has gotten worse. We have over half the unsheltered homeless in the whole country in California right now.
Unbelievable. Congressman Kevin Kiley, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Coming up, we have former acting DHS Secretary